Namaste and welcome to today's episode. Indigestion, irritable bowel syndrome, gas, flatulence. These are modern days natural phenomena. We have started to accept it as okay, this is a part of my daily life. Couple of reasons. One, because we do not want to fix it. Secondly, we have an easy temporary band-aid solution of popping an antacid or taking some laxatives or relying more on medicines to cure when the solution is something else. Now there are certain medical reasons for which you can have this, but majority of this is more to do with lifestyle. Now we have to understand our ancestors never had this problem. Okay, maybe you don't have to go to way back, but maybe our parents or grandparents they did not have these issues uh, to an extent that we are facing as a generation, and it is getting from bad to worse, generation after generation, decade after decade. It has to do something, if you think back, has to do something with our lifestyle. It has to do something with our eating habits. Okay. Now what happened was, our ancestors used to eat simple food. They used to eat food which was available uh, as and when it was available. Okay, so most of the time they used to eat. Our ancestors used to eat animal protein without any problem. They used to have a little bit of grains, a lot of local grown vegetables, which were in season. Okay, these were not available throughout the year, and there were very few moments where luxury used to be there or indulgence used to be there, and these indulgences were there around festive time. Okay, so for example, uh, if I look at my parents, and you would reckon with it, uh, refined flour used to be eaten only during Diwali, Holi, or some festival when there were some dishes were made specially for that time. But now refined flour is eaten way too often, uh, and it's readily available. Now, when agriculture started, people started to grow more crops. They started to grow more grains because they wanted to have more availability of food and not to go starved or go on hunting for a long time. So that caused a shift in our gut. Then the second wave came when industrialization happened, when people started to produce more. Okay. The third uh, wave came when people started to produce more crop per hectare by use of a lot of pesticide, herbicide, chemicals, hybrid crops, cross pollination. Okay. And the last wave, and the wave that we are facing as a generation, started somewhere in 80s, early 80s in the Western world and early mid 90s in our country, was processed food and fast food. Now, what happens is fast food gives you an option, or processed food gives you an option to eat world cuisine in a flavored manner, easy to eat, eat more than what can be needed. It takes less time to get digestion because you don't have to chew it, you don't have to bite into it, you don't have to use a lot of gastric juices, but causing but having a lot of flavors, chemicals, colors, anti-caking, stabilizers. So basically, you're ingesting flavored chemicals in your body. Now, can we avoid it 100%? The answer is maybe, may not be. But what can we do to fix it? Okay. So what happens is, and if you link all these things, okay, and you link this with our ancestors, they never had this problem. Okay, they used to have a good bowel movement in the morning. They used to eat uh, anything and everything that was available. They used to eat a lot of chapatis without a problem. Today, gluten has become a big menace for majority of us. Okay. Now there are certain principles which are governing digestion, and that's something that we'll talk about. Something known as food combining. A very passionate topic, a topic which has got a lot of questions, queries, and a lot of people will come back after this video asking questions around it. But this is something which, if you're able to support, if you're able to fix, we'll see a lot of improvement in irritable bowel syndrome, flatulence, gas, indigestion, and the need to take those popping pills and laxatives will definitely go down. Now, uh, this idea of food combining comes from the theory that good health results in a body that is able to stay alkaline, slightly alkaline, and that is able to digest food. Okay, so if your body is not alkaline, you will not be able to digest the food or assimilate the food or absorb the food that you have eaten. Okay? And we all know food is not about carbs, fats. It's not about vitamin A, B, C, D, E, K. It is about information. It is about information that goes to the trillions of cells in your body to make and respond and to revive, to reset, to rejuvenate each and everything in your body. Okay. Now, so scientifically, what you see is that if you are eating food that are comparable, that are compatible, that can combine together, you'll have a better digestion and a better health versus food that are of opposing natures. Okay. Now, by grouping the right foods, people can be assured that they would have a better digestion. Over time, they'll have a better absorption, and over time, they'll have better elimination, detoxification, and overall health. Now, how does digestion works? So, when you eat a food, okay, the digestive juices are secreted in your stomach. Now, they are secreted in your stomach through your mouth. Okay, when the primary digestion happens and the food moves from your stomach into a small intestine for all assimilation and further digestion and absorption, what happens is the pancreas releases a lot of digestive enzymes. The pancreas also releases a lot of soda bicarbonate. Now, this bicarbonate ensures that the food that is coming out of your stomach in a thick slurry or a gravy form is highly acidic, because stomach acid is very, very acidic. So it mellows it down so that it is readily absorbed in the body. So two things that you need. One, you need to have a very strong stomach acid. Second, you need to have a good bicarbonate production through your pancreas. Now, pancreas, besides producing digestive enzymes, which they do majority of the time, they also work to release insulin, which will ensure that the sugar, which is toxic for your blood but needed for all the energy, is transported into the cells. Okay. So if you're eating a diet which is high on insulin or a high glycemic load food, you will definitely have eventually pancreas getting tired and releasing less of digestive enzymes. So that's number one thing that you should be working upon. Okay. Now, the juices that are released, the digestive juices that are released in your mouth, in your stomach, through your pancreas, they can be either alkaline or they can be acidic. Now, the body decides, basis what you are eating, whether the juice will be alkaline that it should release or it should be acidic, because both juices works differently for both different set of food that you are eating. So if you are eating a protein-rich diet, you need an acidic environment to digest it. If you are eating a carb-rich diet, you need an alkaline environment to digest and absorb that food. Now, I'll give you some examples. So when you start to chew, okay, when you're putting food in your mouth, your saliva, there's a salivary enzyme known as amylase, now which is produced in response to eating of carbohydrates. So that means when you start to chew food which is carbs, okay, grains, breads, whatever you're eating, okay, it is mixed with saliva, and that amylase helps to digestion. And that is the reason if you chew your carb for a longer time, they start to tend sweeter because the digestion has already started. Okay, and you would need is an active amylase enzyme that your saliva produces is active only in an alkaline environment. So if you're putting these carbohydrates in an acidic environment, the amylase will not work. So number one rule for you is, if you're eating a diet, you should chew it properly. Okay, because so that whatever carbohydrates you're eating, you're able to digest them in your mouth itself, okay, rather than pushing it to your stomach where there's a strong stomach acid which will kill amylase. Okay. Secondly, there's a gastric enzyme which is produced in your stomach lining known as pepsin. Okay, now this is highly acidic, and you need acidic environment to digest your protein. So if you're eating a diet which is rich on protein, primarily animal-based protein, your digestion will happen. The digestion will happen in your stomach, okay, and you need an acidic environment. If your stomach acid is low or it is more alkaline, you will have indigestion. Okay, and that is the reason if you drink water, if you drink any liquid, or if you drink a soda when you're eating your non-veg based protein, high protein, dense protein, you always tend to have indigestion, bloating, or gases. So basically, if you are mixing with the law of nature of combining acidic food with an alkaline environment or an alkaline food with an acidic environment, the end result is indigestion. It's all about balancing and putting the right food in your mind. Okay. Uh, Now the body will also produce enzymes specific to the food that has been eaten. Okay, and also what happens is the food itself, whatever you are eating, will have its own digestive enzymes. That's how the beauty of nature is, that nature produces food which are self-digesting when you consume. But for that to happen, the food has to be raw or cooked on a slow flame. Fast forward, if you're cooking food on a high flame, ovens or a high flame gas, or you're doing those grilled and char grilled and high dose, high intensity cooking, you tend to have problem eating those foods. And that is the reason, if you look at our parents or grandparents, they used to always say, heat your utensil, sim the gas, and then cook your food on a low or a medium flame. Because you would want the digestive enzymes not to escape, to help pre-digest the food. So when you are cooking a food, raw food, it's like you're pre-digesting it and enhancing the flavors because of all the nutrients and all the minerals and vitamins that are there in the food to be released, not getting escaped. So point number two, point number one was eating your food, chewing your food properly. Point number two was ensuring that alkaline food is not mixed with acidic food. Acidic food is not eaten in an alkaline environment. Point number three, always cook food on a low or a medium flame. Avoid high temperature abuse. Okay. Now, so this means if it comes to the point that if you're eating a high carbohydrate food, okay, whether it is bread, whether it is a sourdough bread or a whole grain or a gluten-free bread, and you're combining it with a high protein diet, okay, basically grilled chicken or roasted chicken with bread, you're creating a opposite combination of food. Now your stomach will not be able to digest it, because stomach can only, or your body will only be able to release certain types of enzymes at a time. So that combination is something that you would want to avoid. Now if you're eating a high protein diet, okay, combining it with high starch food, which is mashed potatoes, french fries, okay, sour cream. Now these and these are something which are very, very normal and natural these days, okay, because earlier food was all about food that you can eat to give you energy. Now food has become more about how it should look, how it should taste, what all delicacies can be there, what all world cuisine you can add. Okay, nothing wrong in it, but you need to ensure that you're giving an environment to your body where it can digest and eat such foods. Okay, so what you should be doing is avoiding mixing carbs with a high protein food. Now a lot of people will say that means dals are protein and I should not eat dal chawal. Remember, dals have a combination, have more carbohydrates than they have protein. Okay, so it is absolutely safe to eat your beans and your dal with your chawal. Okay, now if you have food, for example, when you're eating non-veg or a high protein diet, absolutely best way to combine is to combine with non-starchy food. Non-starchy foods like green salad, non-starchy food like cabbage, celery, lettuce, cauliflower, small amount of carrots, bok choy, turnip. Okay, so all dark leafy green vegetable non-starchy food, because they help to they combine well with a high protein diet. And if you go back and see how we eat, let's say if you're eating out and you've ordered an entree or a dish which has got a grilled meat, which has got fries or cooked potatoes, and which has got some little bit of greens, the only and a lot of rice. So what we'll do is we'll eat the rice, we'll eat the non-veg, we'll eat the potatoes, but we'll leave the greens, which is something which we always want to eat. Okay. Now, what you should also be looking at is proteins can be combined with dense, I think those dense protein, okay, which is like your nuts and seeds, can be combined with acidic fruits, so like orange, blackberries, pineapple, strawberries. You can easily combine them because vitamin C in these fruits help to break and digest protein. Okay. If you're eating a diet which is either carb rich or a protein rich, okay, you can definitely add all your fermented foods, all your cooked non-starchy food, okay, that can be easily done with it. Okay, so you can eat all your fermented foods with that. Third thing, you should avoid eating a lot of fermentable food with your non-fermentable food. With this, I mean uh, mixing, for example, eating a fruit after your meal. Okay, fruit will ferment faster, but get digested faster as compared to a cooked meal. Hence, the body will not push it down till the time the entire digestion is happening. So don't mix your fruits with your carbs or your normal meal. So those whole idea of having a mango after your dinner is something that you should go away with. Okay. Last point, what you should be also looking at is how a body responds is the way that you should also eat. So when you start your day, you are already breaking a fast that you have been doing post dinner till the time you have your breakfast. Now, this should be a diet which should provide you enough energy and protein. So a good protein diet or a good carb diet is what you need. The food that takes the maximum time of to digest, or a food which is high in sugar, okay, all those are desserts and all, should be best combined when you're eating them in the lunch time, because your digestive fire is at the peak during your lunch. Okay, and as you progress towards the day, you should be eating a lighter and a lighter meal, because post dinner you would want your body to start doing all this absorption, detoxification, and resetting your body rather than focusing too much on digestion. Okay, so good rule is early dinner, have a decent and a good breakfast, have all the so-called worldly junks that you want to eat during your lunch time, and have a diet which is very very simple and easy to cook in your dinner. Okay, the last rule when you're doing food combination is to ensure that whatever you're cooking, it does not have too many ingredients. Okay, now we all want to experiment things, we want to eat good, we want to feed our family with the best of the food, but what we are doing is we're trying to uh, get some, let's say, a Mexican cuisine and fit it into an Indian environment. It does not work that way. Or we're trying to eat a diet which has got a lot of acidic and alkaline food together. Okay, so something like pizzas, spaghettis. Okay, this has got a lot of carbs, has got protein, acidic, citric, all this combined together, causing a lot of indigestion, bloating, and all those gases problem. Okay, I think the time has come for us to move back to those old age way of eating very simple food, which is nutritionally beneficial and easy on your digestive system. Okay, and indulging in your so-called delicacies once in a while. Follow the 90-10 rule. 90% of the time eat things that are good for you, and 10% of the time eat things that you really want to eat and enjoy. So in a nutshell, try to consume foods needing an acidic environment at one, which is like nuts, meats, acidic fruits, and eat food once which has got an alkaline environment. Have a wonderful day, everyone, and we'll catch up soon. Uh, in the comments, if you really like this video, just comment yes. All those who will comment, I'll send them a chart which we are trying to prepare, which will talk about food combination, acidic, alkaline, and a chart that is easy to understand, which you can use as a ready reference for yourself and your family. Have a wonderful day, everyone, and we'll catch up soon. Namaste.